We have an amazing speaker. This guy, he started a company called Ecover, and then he went really to the other level. He wrote a book called The Blue Economy, and the book was such a big success that he actually wrote version 2.0, which he called The Blue Economy 2.0. Ladies and gentlemen, our first presenter of today, Gunter Pauli.
Byron, congratulations. Not just for the event, but for driving your car through the window. You know, this guy last night, he drove the car through the window. I mean, you have to have guts to do that, so great for the guts. Thank you. Applause. You learned how to applause for Byron. I think when I'm invited to come here, it's because I share with Elon Musk this great little phrase of him. I like to be involved in things that change the world. Why do anything less? I mean, we are here to change the world, right? And if you're not aiming to change the world, why don't you leave the room? Let me remind you of what has happened over the past 4 million years. Humanity has learned how to take risks. We used to walk on 4 legs. We went to 2. 2 legs is slower and less stable. But while we were moving our hands up, we got those hands free, and we had the greatest invention of mankind. It's called the bag. Because now we could put food in a bag, and we could start running and carry with us 15 times more food than we could ever gather today if we didn't have the bag and we didn't have our hands free. And now we're coming home to that little nest, and there are hungry kids and a wife there. And what are they saying when you come home with more food than you can ever eat? Daddy, I love you. What we now know from science, the Royal Academy of Sciences of Sweden has confirmed that the development of our brain is the result of an emotional experience and not because we learn to speak, not because we learn to use a hammer. It's the emotion of taking a risk and getting the reward afterwards. And that is why entrepreneurship is so critical. It's the heart and soul of our being. What is the big problem today? The last 10,000 years, we have a brain that is getting smaller. Scientifically proven. 10,000 years, our brain is smaller than the brain of the Neanderthal. What happened to us? We don't take risks anymore. We're not the entrepreneurs anymore. We don't change things fundamentally anymore. And that is why in this introduction I tell you, we're here to change the world. But in a very special way. This is my daughter Chido. My daughter in Zimbabwe works on a coffee farm, tells the women that with the waste of the coffee they can grow mushrooms, and they can do it within a few weeks' time. You know what the women in Africa do? They get up, they sing, they dance, and they do it. You know what they want in Belgium? They want a business plan, technology audit. They want an Excel spreadsheet to exactly calculate. They want to have a risk assessment. Then you have committees, then you have pilot projects. In the end, what is happening? Nothing happens. This is why I like Elon Musk. Just do it. Just don't fuzz around. And even when they want reports, don't give them the reports. What we need to do is to do and not to talk about it. So now you may have known that in one of my initiatives that I've developed since I left Belgium is we work with coffee. Yes, I drink a cup of coffee. But then we farm the mushroom. That you figured out now as well. Then, the waste of the coffee, which is now the waste of the mushrooms, is great chicken feed. And now with Patagonia and Adidas and Puma, we're using the waste of the coffee and we put it into your textiles so that when you are running and jogging and you're sweating, it doesn't smell like that. Then we're putting into carpets. We could put coffee in this carpet. We actually have nylon 6 mixed into carpets, but we can also put it into insulation. 20% of the MDI, which is converted to polyurethane, we inject coffee oil. And now we have systems that absorb odors in many different places and the paint. So I'm asking myself, when can I talk about your Tesla car and have coffee in the dashboard? not the cup of coffee to drink. I want to have the coffee in the dashboard so it doesn't smell sometimes as it smells. If you had a lady in the car who didn't have the right perfume, just let it get absorbed. Or can we have finally a coffee paint that is made with coffee? Because why is coffee so great for paint? Because coffee blocks UV. This kind of thinking is what moves me. We have to do things that have never been done before, and for that you need mentors. You need people who bother you, people who inspire you. And if you don't have the people who bother and inspire you, then you're not going to go beyond your own limits. We need to go beyond of what we're doing, and we got to be uncompromising. When I do an initiative, I don't compromise. It's this way, it's no way. And that is one of the reasons why I did not create Ecover. I took over when it was bankrupt, quasi-bankrupt. And then I started developing this great ecological factory, the wooden factory that still stands in Malle, north of Antwerp, with a big grass roof. I paid my workers to ride a bicycle to work. You know, in Belgium, that does make people ride a bicycle. And I had them put long johns, underwear from Patagonia, so that I could turn down the heating in the factory. You know long johns from Patagonia? Lange onderbroeken? Yeah? They all had it. So what had all happened is that I had a biodegradable product that was a success in the market, and it was from a renewable resource, but when I was in Indonesia, I realized I was killing off the habitat of the orangutan. You got to be uncompromising. Doing less bad is bad. So I decided to do more good. To do more good and not continue with the green economy, which is a very strange economy. Whatever is green and good for the world and good for you is expensive. Who invented that system? I mean, whatever is good for you should be cheap. So I developed the blue economy. Now, if blue is not the color of your preferred soccer team, or you don't like blue because it's of the party that you don't like, change the color. But do it. To me, the key is doing it. And I published this book 6 years ago. It's in 38 languages, 1.2 million copies. And I said, 100 innovations will in 10 years generate 100 million jobs. I had to publish a new book. In April this year, 200 projects implemented, 4 billion euros invested, 3 million jobs generated. We failed. There's still 97 million jobs to go. But I want to show to you is that this way of thinking is working. So when I hear that Elon Musk said, I should buy a boat, I thought, let's think about boats. You know this famous saying, if you give a man a fish, he will not be hungry for the day. If you teach him how to fish, he will overfish. He will catch too many fishes. So what we're saying is that, hey, who's the culprit? Do you eat caviar? Who dares to put up his hand? Now in Sweden, normally it's like this. And caviar is something very particular because you kill the females with eggs. Have you ever felt about that? I mean, killing a female with eggs so you can enjoy it? I don't get it. I mean, who gets that into his mind? So I said, if Elon can do electric cars, I can do electric fishing boats. So here are electric fishing boats. We have solar fishing boats, but in order to have the capacity to go with a boat for the full day, either with wind like this, or solar like that, or with your hydro support in the back, your hydro generators, because we have also hydro generators, like the brakes of the car, we do that with a hydro. I can only do that if I eliminate the nets, because I have to pull 2 kilometers of nets. This is not going to work. So what we're doing is we are radically changing the logic of fishing. We fish without nets. How do you catch the fish when you don't have nets? With air bubbles. So we use air bubbles just like the dolphins do. And the whales. You use air bubbles, everything comes to the top, and then we have this kind of aspirator. Een stofzuiger, maar voor de vissen. We have this aspirator that sucks the fishes into the boat. Then you have an echographic system. You know the echographics when you want to know if it's a boy or a girl? We use that machine to check if there's a female with eggs, and it's a female with eggs, back into the sea. This is innovation, radical change. And you know what? It feels good. What we need is doing things that are really great. Now, this is something I don't feel good about. I have 6 kids. Oh my God, we use a lot of those. I decided that we're going to change the world, and so I am changing the diaper. I mean, it's something basic, right? Going from a electric fishing boat to a diaper is a bit of a shift in mindset, but it's all the same. Now, our test market is Berlin. Anyone from Berlin here? Niemand von Deutschland? Okay, yeah. Well, Elon Musk was there yesterday, that's why. They saw him yesterday there. Now, they have 109,000 babies wearing diapers. And so what are we doing? We said, what a nutty thing to do. For 109,000 babies, you need 125,000 trucks to deliver them and to take them to the dump. Come on, you guys, can't we do better? I mean, hey, anyone from Procter & Gamble here, or Kimberly-Clark? I mean, is this the way we're going to change the world? No, this is the way we're going to pollute the world. 6% of the, 6% of the waste that goes into our landfills is this. So let's change it. So how is our model? We are giving diapers for free. As of the 25th of October, this year in Berlin, anyone who has a baby gets diapers for free. And we tell them to change them a lot. Because then we get the diapers back. I'm not going to the detail. We get the diapers back in a bucket, and we make black earth out of it. You know terra preta? The black earth full of carbon. And in that, every baby produces, every year, 1,000 kilograms of black earth. Hey, that's 1,000 trees. And 1,000 trees are planted, that means for every 100 babies, that's 100,000 trees a year. And they give only fruit trees, and with the fruits, we can give fruits for free. This is what I call the sharing economy. What is our business model? We get €5 per tree. And by selling the trees for €5, we make $150,000 on 100 families. You can only imagine what Procter & Gamble is making today. I like competition. I love David versus Goliath, because you know who wins. That's why you bought the car, right? So here are the first trees we're planting in Berlin. This is radical change. We got to change the world, but we got to create more value than we thought is possible. Let's listen to this video. I don't like petroleum. I think it sucks that the world has too much emissions. I think we got to change it. So my feedstock is not petroleum, but thistles. Jan and distel. We use thistles because the European Union has been paying farmers not to farm. And when you pay farmers not to farm, what do you get? Distils. So what do? We harvest them. It's the cheapest raw material you can ever imagine. But what we make out of it? Plastic bags. We make oil. Actually, I hope Tesla will be starting using our vegetable oil very soon. But we use vegetable oil from thistles. The Lavazza cups are only made with thistle chemistry, no more aluminum. We've eliminated that. And we use elastomers. And then our waste is feed for animals. So we have 72,000 tons feed for animals, which we can sell at half the price the farmers today have to pay for soy. Hey, you guys, it's possible to have farmers in good local meat, cheaper. The only problem is we didn't think about the business models. And the waste that we have from our flowers is bacterial enzymes, which is great to make goat cheese. So now in Sardinia, goat cheese with thistle enzymes. You think I'm nuts? Well, listen to this. I'm the chairman of this company, so I'm not talking about something that other people are doing. I'm the chairman of the company. We have bought a bankrupt petrochemical facility in Porto Torre, Sardinia. And we converted the old petrochemical facility, closed it down, and converted it into a biorefinery. 840 million euro investment. We're profitable year 2. Why? What's the cost price of thistles? Nothing. You only have to harvest it. You have to look for a harvesting machine, because they didn't think about harvesting machines for thistles, but we got it now. With other words, it's possible to fundamentally change. You don't have to be against petroleum. You don't have to worry about all these petrochemical facilities in Antwerp that will go bankrupt. You only have to worry about how creative are you to invent the new industries of the future with resources that are widely available. We have taken over 6 petrochemical facilities in Italy. Italy is the first nation in the world that has closed all petroleum crackers in the country. We're helping petroleum to exit by making more profit, by being sharper on the market, and making things the world wants. And we got to correct the errors of the past. I made errors with my ecover. I destroyed the habitat orangutan. Procter & Gamble and Unilever decided to copy me, and that's why we have the mess of more than 1 million hectares destroyed in Kalimantan, Indonesia. I have to take responsibility for that, so let's change. Let's not feel guilty. Let's do better. So here is how we do better. This is in all respect to my dear friend Elon Musk. This is in South Africa. This is about 100 kilometers from he was born. This is how it looks like, because this is what we do when we mine. We take it out of the mines and then we just dump it, so people can have asthma for 100 other years. I mean, nothing different than the Limburg, huh? We just do it. And then we give the company a license, and a license to do what? We today have a license to make stone from paper. Have you ever heard of that? We make stone into paper. Paper that doesn't need water. Paper that doesn't need any cellulose. Paper you can recycle forever. Isn't that like a magical dream? Isn't that like where we think, oh, that sounds like Jules Verne? No, 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 no. This is reality. We're doing it. This is our first factory in China. This year we're hitting 1 million tons of stone paper produced. And we're going to go to 25 million tons of stone paper. We don't advertise. We're not in the little consumer businesses, but we want to make certain that we don't use the water. For every ton of paper today, you need 60 tons. Sorry, for every ton of paper, you need 60 tons of water. We have 0. You have to be able to think out of the box and just go for it. And don't listen to the scientists who tell you it can't be done. And don't ask anything from the politicians. Just do it. Just go for it. And if they say you're breaking the rule, you say, I'm not breaking the rule, I'm changing the rules of the game. This is what David did, right? Because Goliath thought he was going to go for a little wrestle match. David has his stone ready and threw the stone, of course, without advertising, without saying to Goliath that he was going to throw some stones. This is how we operate. We operate in a way that we can change the world. But if we only teach our children everything we know, then they can never be better than we are. And that is the reason why all my efforts, all my innovations that we put onto the market worldwide, the other half of my time is teaching children. Well, I've got 6 children, but we share with children. I have 365 fables based on 365 innovations. Of course, it's not translated in Dutch. I'm Belgian. I'm born here in Antwerp. But I'm very fortunate that there's one fable which Elon likes very much, how to take it apart. Because when he talks about children, you know, he created his own little school. And his idea was, we don't have to teach them the screwdriver, we just have to tell them, take apart the machine. That's exactly what we're doing. We're on the same wavelength. I have the privilege that the Chinese government distributes all my fables for free to children in China. I'm over 1 billion copies. 1 billion. I couldn't have done that in Belgium because I would never have gotten through the ministries of education. Never. And the Catholic Church, well, that's another issue. I'm working with children around the world. If we want to have a better future, we better realize we got to set our targets, and they got to be ambitious. Very ambitious. They got to be so ambitious that 99% of the people call you crazy. If I'm not called nuts sometimes, I think I'm not pushing the limit far enough. We got to be considered crazy. But then, when you have set your targets, like make paper from stone without water, and have a fishing boat that will only catch fishes with air bubbles and let all the females with eggs free. When you set your targets, just define your strategies and go for it. The last 6 years, $4 billion went into it. And I never wrote a business plan. Not one business plan. Not one Excel sheet. Because if you don't believe me, stay out of the room. This is the only way to change the world. But then, you have to do the most important. Inspire the children. If you don't take time to inspire the children, then you ain't looking for the future that is better forever. With the wise words of Nelson Mandela, it always seems impossible until it's done. Thank you.